beautiful country. There are many places of interest in Malaysia such as Pulau Langkawi, Pulau Tioman, Pulau Redang and many others. There are many tourists visiting Malaysia and the tourist rate are constantly rising. Moreover, there are no war and conflict among Malaysians. Besides, Malaysia is a country that free from critical natural disasters like earthquake and tsunamis. And the most important thing about Malaysia is Malaysia has low crime rates, and that is why Malaysia is a relatively safe country to live. But the question here, is Malaysia safe for women? When I talk about safety, it is actually an issue that very related to women. Is it safe for women to live in Malaysia? And is it safe for women to travel in Malaysia? And is it safe for women to walk alone in Malaysia? So, that's the question. A country becomes safe not so much by policing, army or even by closed-circuit television, but by people, especially women, that being able to use all the public places without any fear, in which can empower them by facilitating access to social or even economic opportunities. Based on the Global Peace Index, Singapore and New Zealand share the top spot as the safest countries for women in Asia Pacific with impressive healthcare, safety and opportunity. Australia came in third, followed by Japan and Taiwan. But what about Malaysia? Malaysia has been ranked 5th safest country out of 14 nations in the Asia Pacific region. However, a spread study has found that Malaysia still lacks in terms of legal protection and economic opportunities for women, in which Malaysia has been ranked 10th place when it comes to opportunities and healthcare for women. This means Malaysia still has a lot of room to improve, especially the aspect of healthcare and opportunities for women. But do remember that Malaysia was not ranked as 10 for the safety score, but it is for the overall score include healthcare and opportunity rank as well. Safety perspective for women in Malaysia is actually ranked in the top 5 as I said earlier. As we know, there are some common crimes against women in Malaysia, including sexual harassment, domestic violence, and some discrimination against women in workplace. Is that crimes really happen in Malaysia? The answer is yes. What is exactly the problem faced by the women? And is there any existing law for women's safety? So let us discuss more detail about this issue. Let's go.
Next is the existing law for women in Malaysia. There are organizations in Malaysia that are helping in raising the level of awareness with regards to women's rights and helping push for acceptance of certain principles of women's rights, such as non-discrimination against women. The organization consists of their parent body, which is National Council of Women Organization (NCWO), together with groups like All Women Action Malaysia (AWAM), Women Aid Organization (WAO), and several others more. First, in domestic violence, women in Malaysia have certain protection from domestic violence, such as Domestic Violence Act 1994. Under the penal code, women may charge their husband for acts of abuse such as physical violence or threats. Second, in education, as stipulated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights (UDHR) and Convention on the Rights of the Child (CRC), everyone in Malaysia has the right of access to education. While Article 10 of Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women (CEDAW) emphasized that government ought to take appropriate measures to eliminate discrimination against women to ensure that they can enjoy the same equal rights with men in the field of education. Third, in healthcare, the government introduced the Nutrition Rehabilitation Program for pregnant mothers in 1997 to further improve the health status of pregnant women by providing adequate nutrition, especially for women in the low-income group. Next, in human trafficking, due to consistent and concerted effort from various stakeholders, positive developments in combating human trafficking have been materialized. For example, the Anti-Trafficking in Person (ATIP) Act was enacted in 2007, and the UN Protocol to Prevent, Suppress and Punish Trafficking in Person, especially women and children, has been acceded to by the government in 2009. Last but not least, sexual harassment in workplace. Recognizing that sexual harassment is a widespread problem, the Ministry of Human Resources has launched the Code of Practice on the Prevention and Eradication of Sexual Harassment in the Workplace, the Code, in 1999. The Code of Practice outlined the statement of purpose, definition of harassment, forms of harassment, guiding principle and procedure for employers in setting up a mechanism for employers to act fairly when dealing with cases on sexual harassment. Article 8(2) of Federal Constitution has been amended in 2001 to ensure that there is no discrimination against women on the basis of gender. This guarantees women in Malaysia to enjoy the same rights, freedom, and opportunities as their male counterparts.
Hi, my name is Anisha binti Suliman. My ID matric is D201820859552. So today I will explain to you the issues that faced by women in Malaysia. No country has it all when it comes to gender equality, but some places are better than others to be a woman. The research by Value Champion 2019 has studied and researched that Vietnam, Thailand and Malaysia as the 8th, 9th and 10th safest country for women respectively out of 14 countries in Asia Pacific. These countries still has a lot of room to improve in terms of healthcare and opportunities for women. It is estimated that 1 of 3 women have been a victim of violence at one time in their life. There are many issues that have been faced by women in Malaysia. Firstly is sexual harassment. According to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission (EEOC), sexual harassment had been defined as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of sexual nature. For example, a man whistles at a woman when she walks by. The whistle, which considered as verbal harassment, which definitely make the woman feels uncomfortable and threatened, so that it will call as sexual harassment. These are the examples of undesirable behavior and the types of harassment. In addition, sexual harassment is seen as the top issue facing by a woman. 3 in 10 people, which is 32% globally, believe that sexual harassment is the biggest equality issues facing by the women and girls in the world. Malaysians also share the same belief, and more than half of them, which is 51%, believe that this is the number one issue that been faced by women in the country. Next is snatch and rob issue among women. Although women do not ask to be robbed, more often than not, their own ignorance and hard to change habit make them as the perfect target for snatch incident. From opinion of crime analyst, which is Encik Kamal Effendi, has stated that women are part of gender discriminated crimes, which is on the rise each year compared to other crimes. Women are immune to advices. They have made it as habit to place the handbags on the passenger seats despite being told not to do so many times over, said Kamal Effendi. Passenger seat is the most strategic place for the thief to pick up things from, as they are easily seen. In fact, most criminals consider women to be physically weak. These are the main factors why women are chosen to be a victim. Secondly, almost all women, when leaving their house, they will wear personal items such as necklace, bracelet and earrings that made out of gold. The third factor is that women are easily influenced and trust someone. Lastly, such a high level of fear is also the weakness of women, where criminals can easily get the money and valuable demands through threats and intimidation. Lastly is domestic violence in marriage. Domestic violence can be any kind of behavior that a person uses or threatens to use in order to control an intimate partner. The two key elements are controls and threats. The violence can be any forms, and one of it is in physical, such as kicking, hitting, beating, and pushing. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline statistic, approximately 1 in 4 women have been a victim of physical domestic violence, and almost 50% of them have been a domestic psychological aggression. Meanwhile, in 2019, around 340 cases of domestic violence in Malaysia were recorded between January and June, with anger, misunderstanding, and drug addiction attributed to the leading causes. Women are often to stay with the abuser because of fear. They are afraid that the abuser will become more violent if they try to leave. Some fear that they will lose their children. Many believe that they cannot make it on their own. They think that they can stop the violence if they just act differently. They may feel cut off from the social support and resources. Abused women often feel that they are lonely and there is no way to turn for help. As a conclusion, there are 3 issues that have been faced by women in Malaysia, such as sexual harassment, snatch or rob issue, and domestic violence in marriage. In your opinion, is Malaysia still safe for a woman?
So, is Malaysia safe for women? According to a study conducted by Singapore-based research company VLOG-BIU2042, Indonesia is the second most dangerous country for women in the Asia-Pacific region after India, while the Philippines is the third most dangerous. Singapore is the safest country across the region. The 2019 study also ranked Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia as the 8, 9, and 10 safest country for women, respectively. Out of 14 countries in the Asia Pacific, these countries still have a lot of room to improve in terms of healthcare and opportunity for women. The bottom 3 countries, the Philippines, Indonesia, and India, were found to have subpar access to healthcare, lack law regarding women safety, poor access to family and planning resources, and overall inequality. Have you ever heard any tourists complain about Malaysia? Malaysia is relatively safe country to visit. Violent crime rate are low, so getting kidnapped and assault is unlikely, but robbery and assault do happen sometimes, even involving weapon. So it is best to be wise. As a woman traveling solo in Malaysia, you should not have any problem traveling to Malaysia. Is Malaysia safe for female traveler? Yes, but as with anywhere, be careful at night, and also with your belonging in the capital, as bag snatching on motorbike has been known. There are parents from abroad who are worried if their daughter travel to Malaysia, but there are tourists from other countries who have lived in Malaysia for more than 6 years, stating that Malaysia is safe country for female solo tourists to visit. All religion in Malaysia respect women and take good care of them. There is no religion that regret the dignity of women. Women are the group that must be protected. But sometimes, if you feel you are in danger, there is something you need to know to ensure your own safety. Number 1, if walking by yourself, hold your cell phone and be ready to make an emergency call. Many phones now have a button on screen to dial 999 immediately. Go on step further and preset one of the button on your phone to call the emergency number. 2. When leaving the mall late at night, ask the security guard to walk you to your car. Do not go up to just any security guard. Go directly to the kiosk and ask for them to assign an officer to escort you. Predators sometimes dress up like men of law. Number 3. When traveling, do not walk with your map in your hand. It is a dead giveaway that you are a tourist. Therefore, you are an easy target. Number 4. When going out with your girlfriends, decide beforehand that you will stick together. Do not let your friend go off alone with a guy. That's all for the tips. So, in conclusion, Malaysia is a safe country for women so far. Malaysia is safe for female permanent resident and also safe for any female tourists to visit. So, do not be afraid to stay in Malaysia or visit Malaysia. That's all. Bye. Thank you.